Test underscore. There are many kinds of institutions: government, religion, and corporations. All vast architectures of belief and control, different liturgies, yet the same impulses, the same pulse. They survive by processing energy into order, obedience, allegiance, and productivity. The university is no different. It, too, converts raw substance into structure. But its fuel is subtler. Here we have speculation, language, curiosity. Education is the energy source here. Burned clean, converted to metrics, and repackaged as enlightenment. This institute is not an outlier. It is a dream factory, an ideas processing plant, staffed by the dreamers. A cathedral of process, a pipeline of potential. And like all good institutions, it hums Chapter 1, The Cave. Bureaucracy is a cathedral built of forms and fluorescent lighting. At these ideas factories across the lands, the cathedral hums and thrums. Not a hymn as such, no melody, no children's choir. More a continuous administrative tone, like an institutional E-flat. It's not a place exactly. It's a condition. You do not enter it. And here's the thing. The institute is not the building. The institute is an idea wearing a building as a jumper. But buildings can cease to be. The foundations can subside. The cladding fall off. The arsonist can come. Yet the idea persists like a stain. The institute has something platonic about it. The students and workers do not begin in a sunlit lecture theater. They begin, appropriately, in the cave. The cave is not just allegorical, it's a systems diagram. It's a mood board, a think tank. Education is the energy source here. The fuel that feeds the life of the institute. Not nourishment, but combustion. The nutty slack that keeps the machine alive. A pipeline in the ideas factory. It is no accident that this function echoes other institutions. All structures designed not merely to shelter ideas, but to circulate them, process them, polish them, feed them corn, and let them fly into the world. The institute is one cathedral among many. But let us go backwards before this forward journey. Imagine, if you will. Shadows on a wall projected by firelight. Perhaps the first cinema? A lesson in perception, yes, but also the bureaucratic origin story of storytelling. This is Plato's cave. In Plato's cave, who arranges the shadows? Who authorizes the fire? Who cuts out the shapes? Who administrates the viewing schedule? Before the philosopher escapes the cave, someone must log the equipment request and complete the health and safety risk assessment. Remember, we are dealing with open flame and confined space in Plato's cave. At the university, this mythos has evolved. Shadows and flame are now replaced by data projectors. The cave becomes an artist's studio. The chain, a module handbook. Students file in, register, log on. They do not flee the cave. They curate it. When we leave the cave, where do we go? When we leave our home, how do we get back to the cave? Where does the journey begin? The institute does not begin or end at its doors. It seeps into the transit. The commute is an administrative pilgrimage. Swipe cards, lanyards, timetable slots. The institute extends to your route. You are processed before you arrive. Card recognition on building entrances isn't surveillance. It's a prelude. Like Chopin's Prelude in E minor, number 4. It's the moment the system exhales, fills the paper bag, and admits you again. Even the vending machines seem to judge your snack decisions by some unspoken codec. Will you have Tato cheese, an onion, or a Twix? It's a well-oiled muscle. Chapter 2, Production. The Institute's bureaucracy is not a hindrance. Walk the corridors of the museum, for example. We see clean lines, we see routes of movement, we see Sean or Desmond at reception, guiding the way. Helvetica signage or a subtle, bespoke variation of Futura helps us traverse the space. We see policed chaos. At the university, one student may nail dried elephant excrement sourced from the local zoo to the gallery wall. They explain themselves to the tutor. The contextualization is noted in the tutor's art ledger. The administration follow the animal byproducts, ABP's regulations, and note this is Category 3, lower risk, not posing significant health issues. But beyond that vagary, a note is filed, a form is processed. A gallery wall becomes a sanctioned space for expression. It is not spontaneity. It is a planned rupture. Education is not just about knowledge. It's about fueling an instrument, lubricating a blowpipe, oiling a concept. The Institute refines raw curiosity into institutional currency. This is the same function as performed at scale by its institutional cousins. We can see government regulates it. Religion blesses it. Corporations monetize it. The Institute manufactures the language these entities need to survive. If we look at the business of art, the graphic design student loves rules. They dream of grids, spatial ratios, kerning regulations. Their rebellion is alignment. Their freedom is constraint. The final year show is curated not by whim, but by submission deadline, reviewed by a panel, stored on a spreadsheet, cataloged on a website, arranged in a portfolio. In fine art, before the canvas, a checklist. Before the explosion of pigment, a quiet approval from someone named Judith in facilities. Judith is unseen but omnipresent, like the soil, like the molecules under our fingernails. In the architecture and the built environment courses at the university buildings teach obedience. You draft freedom in AutoCAD, experience changes it, then you submit it for planning permission. Concrete dreams require sign-off. Dreams of content management systems fall like tears in the rain. Zah! Chapter 3, Systems. What looks like chaos is a signal in a loop. Stafford Beer would approve. Cybernetics lives in the filing cabinet. The watchwords are feedback, adaptation, and control. A customer's inquiry loops toward Sean at reception. It then escalates to admin, loops back with a printed form and a polite refusal. Filing is not dead. It has evolved, and now it lives in servers, in folders named final-v2.doc. This isn't inefficiency, it's orchestration. The Institute breathes through documentation. Data is its blood. Let us look at an example. The children's playground. Yes, little Barry might fall from the monkey bars, but we must accept a modicum of danger in the interests of muscular development. The risk assessment has been filed, then stapled, placed in a cabinet marked mostly urgent. But what if Francesca pushes Barry? Who's liable? Will the city council's insurance cover it? Mrs. Anglione says no. Little Francesca parents face court time. Or what about the alligator? It lumbers toward the playground. Its eyes hold an ancient green intelligence. The parents look around for the Dangerous Animals Urban Containment Act, 2009. The laminated copy is being used by a city official to prop open a vending machine. Another example. A small, light airplane, having lost its bearings, loses a wing, spilling a rain of burning detritus into the children's sandpit. Twisted metal shards dance among the seesaw, where two toddlers contemplated the nature of balance. Was the playground made a no-fly zone? No matter. We have civil aviation authorities designated recreational airspace zones register. Chapter 4, The Client. The student is no longer a disciple. They are a client. The Institute is branded, packaged, and sold. Course brochures read like product specs. Art is a service, education, an invoiceable item. Customer satisfaction, surveys replace critiques. Metrics devour meaning. A painting may now be a deliverable, a concept, a learning outcome. And yet, the student buys in willingly. They navigate the feedback form like a market research expert. They co-produce their education. They co-curate their education. A naive student or jaded hipster lecturer may mock or critique these bureaucratic systems, these checks and balances. This Rube Goldberg machine for processing the human spirit. But they would be in error. An example. The loose-limbed conceptual performance artist is hoping to complete a master's degree. He is laying naked on a chaise lounge. Between the thighs, upon his genitals, a sprig of flat-leaf parsley perched at a jaunty angle. The parsley rustles, moved by a battery-powered breeze machine. It is always important to remember, any edible garnish, parsley here, must not be served to or consumed by the audience after contact with genital skin to avoid contamination. Pathogens, bodily fluids. We have Food Safety Act, 1990, Food Hygiene Regulations, 2013, and Health and Safety at Work, Act 1974. Chapter 5, Office Team Building. Sometimes, even joy is structured. The away day includes an icebreaker. The office party has a policy document. Bonding is measurable. Camaraderie can be forecasted. A department-wide fun initiative is launched. Someone builds trust by falling backwards into the arms of a colleague they barely know. Laughter echoes, thin and compliant. Team building is a performance. Not like a Marina Abramovich performance, but something more ordered and meaningful. The person falls backwards. Someone will catch them. The Institute applauds. Imagine, if you will, the museum staff gather for an away day. They take part in a scavenger hunt in the wilderness, somewhere outside Bangor. Martin, the head of ceramics, breaks his leg in a desolate wooded clearing. Laying inert, and surrounded by rotting leaves and rusting beer cans, he screams. Christian, from the ancient history department, and Vanessa from botany, construct a split from a hyena femur helpfully donated by Jerry from the zoology department. The senior museum staff carry Martin's bloody frame toward Hope. Christian fills out the accident report. The administration staff of library services are masters of organization and process. But how will they deal with the human knot? A game where the staff of sweaty officers untangle themselves from an intermeshed corporal loop? Teamwork and spontaneity is required. Judith knows how. Chapter 6, Conspiracy. And yet, what if this isn't accidental? What if the form was always the function? There are whispers. No one knows who designed the online portal. Rumors persist of a shadow committee approving signage font choices. A mysterious figure known only as senior leadership moves through emails but is never seen. Conspiracy is the religion of those who've seen the workflow diagram and still don't understand why. Maybe Judith doesn't exist. But these thoughts are the work of a paranoid, under-organized mind. An example. The arts administrator begins to query the strange dead-end corridors of the local arts center. They soon believe it to be a design flaw or a cost-cutting supersize. They dig further, following the paper trail. They investigate the decision-making process. Senior leadership is at it again, they think. Those bastards. Yet the truth is, the dead ends were not mistakes, but careful choices. Quiet guardians of order, shaping space to protect resources and people alike. Senior leadership, unseen but steadfast, had woven bureaucracy into a shield, proving that structure, however labyrinthine and seemingly senseless, can serve the common good. Zah! Chapter 7, Defense. ID is required. CCTV is operational. For your safety. Metal bollards outside the studio like minimalist sculpture. Security guards and high vis, the new ushers of the cathedral. You sense the military inheritance of bureaucracy. It drills, regiments, disciplines. There is a war on chaos. Imagine, if you will, the city council building is in lockdown. A royal dignitary, Princess Julian, has narrowly escaped an assassination attempt in Foyer 6. But fear not. The attempt has been thwarted by the council's administration team, wielding their laminated policy document on the prevention of acts of hostility in Foyer 6. The assassin, confronted with Clause 14, no projectile devices in spaces designated for exhibition display, lowers his weapon. Princess Julian signs the visitor's book. Chapter 8. Monuments. Every building has its monuments. The statue, the brutalist stairwell, the inaccessible sculpture, and the quad. Here, icons are systemic. The coffee machine that never works, but never leaves entrance hall. The lift that talks. The fire door that leads nowhere. These are the Institute's monoliths. Permanent glitches in the matrix. The printer error that reads like poetry. These are not bugs, they are relics. Here's a story about a sculpture. It is called The Monument of Gradual Collapse. In the center of the Arts Council courtyard stands a 5-story rubber statue of a local world-famous poet, his hand aloft, holding a penguin. Each morning, it is fully inflated, crisp, and heroic, his likeness perfect down to the mischievous beanie hat. But by late afternoon, the monument sags, folds, and wilts into itself until, by nightfall, has become an unrecognizable puddle of colored latex. The concept, according to the press release, represents the cyclical nature of inspiration and the Arts Council's commitment to both renewal and gravity's embrace. Chapter 9. Non-production. The hum of activity we see and hear keyboards clacking, ICO calendars filling, spreadsheets balanced, students marking matrices are processed. Mail notifications pings like distant submarine pulses. Sometimes it is not what is done, but that something appears to be being done. Presence masquerading as purpose. A choreography of productivity, largely symbolic, a piece of contemporary institutional dance. To be busy is to be believed. Emails beget emails. Questions invite tasks. The cleverest know silence is strategy. Do not send the email. People will assume you're working, because no one not working would have time to be so absent. The most efficient among us have learned to do almost nothing, almost invisibly. And in doing so, they achieve what bureaucracy values most: continuity. This is the unlogged miracle. In this way, the Institute runs not on work, but on the appearance of work. Like steam rising from a machine that is long since powered down. Chapter 10, The Psychopath. . the Institute is a psychopath. But one of the useful ones, like a surgeon, like a CEO. It does not care, and therefore, it functions. Empathy would slow it down. The Institute approves your grant, denies your leave, approves your leave, prints your name tag, all without flinching. The Institute is benevolent. It offers structure, not kindness. It asks how you are, but only to update the spreadsheet. Its concern is procedural. It does not feel, it processes. And yet, the buildings stand. The foyer is unsoiled again. Someone has scrapped the paint off the radiator. Courses run. Paint dries. Evaluations continue. The Institute may not love you, but it will book your room and timetable your schedule. It keeps the world turning beautifully. Here's a story to illustrate this point. The storm, the flood, an act of nature. Rain pounds the windows, the flood threatens, clawing at foundations. But the Institute does not panic, it organizes. Hallways lock with a satisfying click. Corridors reroute like veins under pressure. The library's books float in inflatable sacks. The public complain but are quieted by precise, impersonal messages. Prioritizing the majority's safety. Some drown, especially in the large print section. But the majority survive because of this action. The Institute does not hesitate. It isolates, confines, and reroutes like a machine with no conscience. Coda. And what emerges from all this, from the cave? Something beautiful. Not despite the bureaucracy, but because of it. Art with data, meaning with a module code. The head of the department does not fear shadows. Like the CEO, the chancellor does not fear the audit. Like the minister, the governor does not fear recruitment and retention. Systems are in place. Systems are in place. The institution invites its workers to reinterpret the cave wall, to leave the cave, to break the chains of disorder and chaos. Some call this bureaucracy. We call it a vision. We call it a vision. We call it a vision.